Hi, Alton Gansky here, and today we're going to look at a 1928 Royal Model P. Stay tuned.
It's Typewriter Tuesday. Let's journey into the past to see what writers of old used to use to ply their trade. What kind of mechanical beauty does Al have for us this week?
Hi, Alton Gansky here again for Typewriter Tuesday. Thanks for joining me. And we're going to do something a little bit different today. We've moved over to my little workbench for typewriters to look at this fabulous Royal typewriter. We're looking at a 1928 Royal Portable, and this is Royal's first true portable typewriter. It was got its patent in 1922, but in an interesting turn of events, it doesn't really come out until 1926. So it's a little over 4 years, actually, about 4.5 years from the patent to the time they released these. So this one is fairly close to the original. It again, 1928. And the first true Royal Portable. Took them a long time to get into the game, and they were pretty much out of it. They were just focused on the office-size machines, standard-size machines, while they were getting ready to release these. In the meantime, Remington's out there, Underwood's out there, Corona's out there making portables, and those are selling quite well. Now, what we're going to do today that's a little bit different is I have done nothing to this machine since I bought it. And I thought this would be a good time to see how a typewriter shows up, the condition of the typewriter, after you get it from a store. And it'll vary a great deal. But this one has the warts and all. You'll see the dirt, and that's really one of the reasons I'm doing this way, is to show you what it's like when these things show up rather than show you the typewriter that's been all dolled up. But first, let's learn a little bit more about the typewriter itself. Again, this is Royal's first true portable typewriter. First one coming out in 1926, as I said. This is 1928. It's usually referred to as a Model P. That's a little misleading because Royal didn't label it a Model P. But as you can see down here, it's a Royal Portable. So it's a Model P, and then they had another one very much like this, and I have one in black that's a O. And so most people today that collect typewriters refer to them as a Model P, a Model O, and there's another one called a flat top. And then there are variations of it as Royal really got into the game. Their first year on the market, they did okay, but they weren't causing any of their competitors to sweat. But by the second, third year, they were selling these in like the hundreds of thousands, and they became a real player. Alrighty, let's take just a quick look at the typewriter itself. You see it's got the glass keys, beautiful glass keys with the white in the background. One of the things you'll notice when you start shopping for these is that when you get these kinds of keys, since it's paper beneath glass with a metal rim around it, that the colors can be a little bit different. So here are the H, the N, the J, the K, the L. They've kind of yellowed over time. The 6 up at the top, and that's just something you have to put up with. You can get replacement ones if you were going to refurbish this thing to try to make it like new. That's seldom my goal. I think it has had a life, and we should show the life of the machine. But nonetheless, very good. One of the interesting things is the keys are very close together. So if I put my big mitts up here, I find it rather cramped. There's a 4-bank. Bank, of course, is what we normally call rows, but in typewriter talk, it's the bank, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's got a full set of keys, very much like a standard-sized typewriter would, an office-sized typewriter. And when Royal would go to advertise these, they would first appeal to men who had to take work home, and they would appeal to travelers, and then they began to appeal to women working at home, and then students. And their ads are fascinating to look at. Their tagline was, "Everyone wants one." Or everybody wants one, and that pretty much became true. And they're very collectible these days. You can see that it's got some wear marks down here at the bottom. That's just fine. It shows it's had a life. And you can see the blue. That's one of the things that really caught my attention, is this is blue, but you also see some black. That's not dirt. This is a crinkle finish, and what they did is they had a blue base coat, and then as we get in close, you can see this crinkle finish here. They had that for it as an accent, and it works out quite well. These came in a variety of colors, and if you start collecting typewriters, or you are a collector, you know if it's a typewriter that's in some color, red, green, whatever, it garners a great deal more money. People that sell them for twice what you would get for a regular black one. In the back, it's very straightforward. It's a good machine, and it works well. These are just wonderful typers, especially for their size. Unlike some early portables, it has two knobs. You see one knob over here, and then on the other side there's a knob here. And you'll notice right off the bat, I know what you're thinking. You're saying this is looks broken, Al. Well, it is, but that's not a problem. I can get a replacement. I just keep my eyes open on eBay for it, and another one of these will come along because they were used for a long, long time. So there's a replacement out there I can probably get for a few bucks. A couple other things just to talk about the typewriter in general. It's got a very short throw on the return arm. It's later they will be way out here, but this is pretty close here, and that's because you have to put it in a case. It does come in a case, which would normally have the base here. Let's spin around real quick, and this is the base for the typewriter. You see these little, they look like feet. Well, they are feet. They're feet for the case, and they come up through these holes and into the feet of the typewriter itself. And then the case attaches on the back, and then you fold it over, and then it encloses the typewriter. Works quite well that way. Normally you leave the case base on because you want to be able to set it on a table or set it on your lap. It's meant to be moved around a lot. I have it off because I need to clean this yet and fix a few things. One of the interesting things is it has a bichrome ribbon. It has the red over here, hard to see, but that's a blue, and then the stencil. But one of the things they did on this early typewriter is they put a stencil lock. So if you want to use the stencil, you have to lift that. Otherwise, you can't use it, so they don't want you setting it accidentally. See, I keep hitting the little lock there. Very interesting. Now, one of the things I wanted to do in this particular episode is to show you how it arrives, sans the base. Let me go back to the base here, and you'll see how dirty it is beneath where the typewriter was. Well, that means there's dust up inside the thing, so it all needs to be cleaned. So I've taken it apart that far, and then as we come back into the typewriter, begin to look a little bit closer, you'll see that it's got wear marks. Again, that's fine. I don't care about that. It's got chip marks in the case itself, on the masks, as they call them, the body work. And that's probably from the case or other things hitting it. As we get in for a closer look, let me just spin around here so you can see, it's kind of dirty inside. I've not cleaned the slugs, which means there's caked ink inside them. It'll take a while to get that out. There's lots of dirt. We look down in the crevices, and this is the difficult part to clean when you have to start taking things apart. But you can see that there's a great deal of dirt down in these areas here, and it'll take quite a while to clean. But that doesn't put me off when I'm buying a typewriter. They can always be cleaned. The point is, this thing is quite old. Again, 1928, and so I expect it to have some dirt. If I had bought a fully cleaned one, it would have been a great deal more money than what I paid for it. So a lot of it depends what you want to do. If you want to use it just to show, which a lot of my typewriters are, I like them to type, but there's some I just wouldn't do a great deal of typing on. So I don't worry too much. I try to clean them up, make sure all the parts work, and then go from there. Another thing I like to look for, let's see if we can get in here close enough. If you look at the platen, you see there's these vertical lines. This tells me it's an old platen. That and the fact it feels like marble. Very, very hard. The things that kept the platen pliable, those things have since evaporated off, and the rubber becomes very, very hard. But this is where the keys strike. So when you see a bunch of these, it means that the typewriter has been used a great deal. If it's perfectly smooth and you don't see those, then it means either someone has replaced the platen or it just wasn't used. But we can tell by some of the nicks, the wear marks from the hands, from resting the hands. that it has been used, which is fine. That's good. It has everything else with it that you normally expect. You've got scales in the back, scales up front. I've already mentioned the broken knob, and I'll get a replacement for that. That's not going to be that big a deal. The ribbon is easy to get to because it doesn't have a cover. Later they will put covers over these, but right now it doesn't have one. It has one release mechanism, and of course you can release the pressure rollers in the back, just like most typewriters. Only two settings for the lines. Push it back, that line spacing I should say. When you push it back, you get one turn. If you pull it forward, you get double spacing with it. So it has two ways of releasing the platen. And if we come in here a little bit, you see this thing with the knob on it. I pull it forward and it spins freely. Push it back and then it's back into ratchet mode. But also there is a button on the side that will do the same thing if you want to just do it very quickly, and that releases it too. So it's very well engineered. I'm having problems with the typing. The keys work just fine. They come up as they're supposed to. They drop back. The springs that pull them back are there. My problem is with the ribbon vibrator, which is this little item in here that holds the ribbon. So when you type, you see this ribbon comes up, but it doesn't retract fully. It's supposed to go all the way down, so you can see. So what happens is when I type is the ribbon goes up but does not retract fully, which means I cannot see my letters very well. And the modern typewriter, this is the beginning of the modern typewriter age, you always wanted to have a visible typewriter. That means you could see what you were typing. Again, it's got some great labels on it, some great badge work on it. Those are very good. Kind of surprising. Those are sometimes the first things to go. So all the way around, it has a lot to commend it. But again, when these typewriters come to me, I go out and I find them. They're usually quite dirty. Every once in a while, I'll get one that's just unusually clean, and I'm very excited about those. I'm still looking for the one that's never been used. But most of the time, they've got 50 years, 60 years sometimes. Some of the older ones, I go back to 1915 on some of my typewriters. That's a lot of years of dirt and stuff. And typewriters are difficult to clean, especially for somebody using one at home or in an office. You have to remove the masks, which is you have to move the body of it to get down into those places. There's just a lot of arms and a lot of levers. You can see under here. It's just hard to get into some of these things. So it takes time, takes some experience, and some brush work, and just a few hours of tedious work to get them as clean as they can be. And that's why you seldom find them that way, because people who owned them just either didn't know how to or just couldn't get to cleaning them up. Then the other things I try to look for is I look down in here. I want to see if there is much junk in here. People would use erasers. In fact, I just got a typewriter that when I opened the case, I found two of those little round erasers with the brush. Well, the eraser filings fall into those things and really clog them up. And then people start adding more oil to them because they think that's what it needs, and then you just end up with gunk. And so you have to be careful. I always clean those things out best I can. I've even found steel wool stuck in a bunch of these where people have tried to clean these up and ended up tearing up their steel wool and leaving them in there. So, but those are some things to look for. Most of these things can be fixed easily enough as long as it's not a major problem. Last thing to really show you on this little beauty is this. This is the ribbon reverse. If you push it on this side, it changes the ribbon direction. And if we scoot over here, you see the same thing on this one. And you can push that. And then if you look close enough, and you should be able to see it here, it is knurled. And by that I mean you can get hold of it, and it allows you to tighten the ribbon. So you can see the ribbon moving through there. That sometimes happens if your ribbon has been stuck, or you know you've got some fresh ribbon elsewhere. Well, there it is, a 1928 Royal Model P. Now that I mentioned that, I'll give you one other thing here that I forgot to show you. The great thing about Royal typewriters is it's very easy to find their serial numbers. And the serial number on most Royal typewriters, and there you can see this one, a little hard to get it to focus there, is under the left side of the carriage. So when you're looking at a Royal, you move this thing over, you move it over, and you take a look back there, and you should find the serial number. That's not true for every typewriter. Some manufacturers hide those things. I've found them on the bottom of the cases. I've found them under the keys, find them on the inside, stamped, just any number of places that you can find them. But Royal was very consistent in that, and so I very much appreciate Royals, and Royals are just fabulous, fabulous typewriters. Well, there it is, a little different approach to our Typewriter Tuesday, a little more up close, and instead of looking at the pretty ones, we're looking at the ones that still have the dirt and need some love. And this one will get that. I love this blue, and it is in great condition for its age. I found another one just like it some weeks after I had gotten this one, and it was trashed. The thing was just a dog, and they were asking good money for it, and I couldn't do it simply because it had so many problems. They were just asking much too much, and it was going to take a ton of love to get it back, and I don't think I could get it back into something that I could feel proud of when I was done. Well, this is Alton Gansky, altongansky.com, where you can read about my goings-on and the writings and typewriters, my books and things like that. So thank you for visiting again. Once again, Al Gansky, altongansky.com. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.